Straw Hut Media.
I just got nervous. The countdown made me nervous.
You got nervous? We're not
As soon as it went to
nervous.
zero, I was like,
We're not nervous because we know how talented you are, and we're going to introduce you in just a minute. I just wanted to give Emile an update. I just read this headline recently. Just in case you were wondering, the pandemic is not over just because you're over it.
Oh my God, I'm so over it.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Confess your mess.
I remember in March of 2020 when I left my job and I was like, oh, I'm only going to be working from home for like a week or two. Fast forward, still working from home.
Yay.
But I feel
grateful to be working.
Grateful to be working. And I feel like through this pandemic, we've gotten to know so many new personalities and internet sensations. And just it's great to see people's creative juices flowing. This podcast came out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And our guest came, or at least us knowing her.
Our guest was born in the pandemic. Yeah, it's amazing.
Not born in the pandemic, but as AJ started, if you heard, the pandemic isn't over just because you're over it. Like the most iconic.
Literally the most iconic like jingle I can think of the last 2 years.
It was a full ass song. And that was the first time that I noticed our guest. And then she's created so many other PSAs since. She's done PSAs on colored hair, on why you should pee in the shower.
That's a good one.
There's so many different ones. You can follow her on TikTok. You can follow her on Instagram. And she just recently moved to LA to really pursue this entertainment career. And we're going to talk all about that because AJ and I are based in LA.
Yeah, I just moved here recently too to start a career 15 years ago. It's going splendidly.
10 years for me. Everybody, welcome to the podcast, the amazing, the talented singer HEB.
Hello.
yo, 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 yo.
Okay, first of all, did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, because, it's just HEB. It could be like, oh, no, my name's HEB. Who knows? But this is one of those situations where I followed HEB on Instagram because AJ knows when I find somebody that I think is super talented, I follow them. I usually comment on every single post. And then eventually they notice me and they're like, oh, I like this guy. I'll follow him back.
Yeah, and then we ask him to be on our podcast so we can be friends with him. That's how we make friends mostly.
That's all exactly how this has happened.
Like I have certain people on the podcast that are friends and celebrity friends of ours or whatever, but then there's others who I've never actually met in person like you, and we're just Instagram friends. But I'm geeking out right now. You are so freaking talented. If you have not seen any of HEB's videos, like, I think the reason why I relate so much, and AJ knows this about me, I literally, not like you, where you, and I have so many questions for you that we'll get into later, but I come up with a song for everything. Everything about anything in the room or any random scenario or object, whatever, any song. And so you were like somebody that I really relate to because I'm like, wow, she's coming up with songs and then she has melodies and then she's harmonizing. This is just talent.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate you being here.
Well, we're going to get into the pod in a minute, but I want to know where that comes from.
Right.
Like, did you grow up singing in church? Did you grow up singing in the choirs? Like, were you just singing for fun? Like, where did that come from?
Well, my mom was a professional singer for most of my childhood. And
there it is.
She was touring around to different churches and stuff. She did mostly Christian music. And she kind of threw my brothers and I into it, made us perform with her. And that's kind of what got us all into music. And then, I just started writing songs when I was 15. And a couple years later, I was like, ooh, a full 3.5 minute song feels so overwhelming. I should just make it 30 seconds. And then I don't have to worry so much about if the lyrics are deep enough or if the melodies are that good. Because by the time you're thinking about it, it's already over.
So for a professional singer who comes from the gospel world, who's toured the country, and then her daughter is going viral on social media during a global pandemic, what's that like for the family? How has your family reacted to that?
Everyone is stoked. Sometimes I get embarrassed. I'll text them about what's happening in our family group chat. Oh, blah, 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 hit me up. And then I'm doing this. And my brothers are in music as well. So it's kind of like a little rat race. This day, this person emailed Ty, and then someone called Sky this day, and then now it's my turn. We're always kind of not competing, but
But low-key,
right. Just a little competition.
It's okay.
Listen, we're going to get into your creative process because I really want to pick your brain. I love when we have super, super creative people on because we're creatives too, but I like to hear the process, the behind the scenes. So we'll get into that in a second. But AJ, why don't you kick it off with some fun?
So this is a little test run. This is sort of an off-the-cuff moment. You did not prepare for this at all. But if there's one thing in the world that you've not been able to say no to that maybe you should, what would be your mess, but yes?
Can you guys give me an example?
Like a vice. Okay, so this is so funny. Okay, real talk. Can I tell you something? Have, can I have a real moment with you right now? Emile, don't say a word for the next 30 seconds, okay? Before we got on here, right before we jumped on, Emile says to me, okay, listen, this week, okay, so sometimes you give them like examples and then everybody always gives us like a food example. And the very first time we did this was with Garcelle Beauvais, and she gave us a really, really good one, but you didn't give her an example. But I feel like every time you give them an example about food, everybody picks food. So can you leave it very generic this time so that Heb doesn't have something specific in her head? Don't worry about the dog. We have a dog, he barks all the time. It's adorable. So he literally told me before we started this podcast, don't bring up anything specific so that Heb doesn't have an idea in her head. So Thank you, Emile.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I need some help. I need some help.
It could be food. It could be a dessert that you just can't live without. It could maybe you're obsessed with Skittles, or maybe you still smoke, or maybe you watch trashy TV.
Right.
There's something that's a vice of yours that you can't. Maybe there's an ex that you haven't dropped that still comes around every 6 months or so. Like it's a situation that you know isn't great for you, but you just can't say no to.
Great examples, AJ.
Wow.
Okay. So now that you've suggested food, I'm just joking. Okay. But okay.
Don't do that to me.
I wish I had like a juicier thing sometimes, but really, Slurpees.
Ooh.
I will cut a bitch for a Slurpee.
So good.
Like 7-Eleven Slurpees?
7-Eleven Slurpees. And don't give me those, don't give me slushies. Don't give me ices. Don't give me any of this off-brand. No.
Okay, that's the Slurpee with a little dog on it, right? There's like a dog on it. There's like the logo.
No, those are ices. I think you're thinking of the polar bear on the icy cup.
Oh, I don't know. When I was a kid, I think there was a dog on the Slurpee logo because in my hometown we used to get Slurpees, and then when I moved to LA, I found out about ices, and that was sort of my I can deal with an icy. But when I was a kid, we had Slurpees. Look at type in Slurpee dog logo. See if there used to be a dog logo back in the day. I'm much older than everybody else, but
back in the ancient times.
That was it.
That's a slush puppy?
Oh, no, it was a slush puppy.
That's a different thing.
It's called a slush puppy. We'll put the photo up. We put this podcast up.
I was like, that's something different.
Can I tell you why I don't like ices specifically?
Oh, yes, please do.
Why Slurpees are superior. So ices are banging for like the first 40%. And then you cut out, then you suck out all the flavor, and then it's just ice with no flavor. And Slurpees don't be doing like that. Like Slurpees are flavorful to the end.
Wait, now I'm confused. What's a Slurpee? A Slurpee is 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Specifically 7-Eleven, only 7-Eleven.
And ices are like AMC
Target.
Theaters or whatever.
AMC Theater, Target.
Yeah, they have them everywhere. Okay, so Heb, you do these PSAs on Instagram, on TikTok, and it's just great. Like about the most random topics. And I was like, a lot of the topics that Heb does videos about, like you did one the other day that was talking about how people need to stop ruining the ends of movies. And like you did one about when people are playing you a song that everybody just pretty much needs to shut the up and listen to the song. Like just random annoyances and things that people wish that they had a PSA to send someone and say, hey, just watch this. So I reached out to, followers, and I know you reached out to your followers, and I said, why don't we do secrets that are secret annoyances? So the theme for this episode are things that secretly annoy you. I know I have some, AJ probably has some, you probably have some, but we're going to see what people are saying. The first one is anonymous female 22. Oh, we haven't had an age in a while. A lot of people don't put their age. It's kind of nice to, figure out the, yeah.
I was 22 once.
22 in 2022. Okay. Something that secretly pisses me off is when my boyfriend squeezes from the middle of the toothpaste. You see it's pushed to the front of the tube, squeeze from the back, and the worst part, he does it on purpose. Okay.
No, that's just inconsiderate doing. Okay, no. Not on purpose.
That's
the part that bothers me. Why on purpose? Because then that means your boyfriend, that's not really a secret annoyance to you, because that means your boyfriend knows.
Yeah.
Or she's saying on purpose in terms of like, that's the way they like it, so they on purpose squeeze from the middle.
Maybe he likes that fresh stuff the first half, and then the second half like,
How do you squeeze your tube?
How do I squeeze?
Squeeze it from the back.
You know how I squeeze my tube. I guess from the back. Listen, I grew up with a single mother, worked in a factory, so we had to use every single bit of toothpaste that was in that tube. So it was, first you just use it as is, and then you do the thing where you roll it to get everything out of it, right? And then you can get a few there. And then after the roll, the trick is you can get a few more days out of it if you lay it flat again and you take the toothbrush and run it flat, like on a flat surface, and squeeze all of it to the edge and then roll it again.
Emile's face right now.
Sorry, because I'm just thinking about I feel like...
Listen, I grew up broke.
I feel like I do it so bad because I feel like I'm going to be judged by this person because I squeeze from the top. And so it's like more of a, okay, the top's empty. So then we kind of like struggle to get it from the middle and the bottom. And then that's empty. And then we struggle like the whole, if you go look at my tube right now, it's like I folded at the top to kind of squeeze. It's a mess. It's a mess. There's always leftover at the end.
Well, we have separate bathrooms because I just can't.
Amazing.
I just can't.
How do you squeeze your tube?
I do it from the bottom, but I stress myself out about so many things like that, about like, oh, I need to get everything. And like the last cent, like I've decided that that's something I can let go if maybe there's like a tiny bit left. But if I'm struggling for like 3 days to get that last little bit, I'm like, you know what? I've done it. I start from the bottom, but I'm not out here like scraping it at the end.
Right.
You know?
I think the bigger issue.
I do be starting from the bottom.
Okay, that's smart. You're wise. I think the bigger issue is if your boyfriend is doing these sorts of things just to annoy you, maybe get a new boyfriend. Because that just feels like
wait a minute.
Dump him.
Yeah, thank you.
Wait, everyone.
If they're the type that's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck with my girl and like mess up her tube of toothpaste, that's like an annoyance now. In 30 years, it's gonna drive you insane.
It's malicious.
Yeah,
it is malicious, but also in relationships, we know that partners do things that sometimes it's not a secret. I tell AJ confession to everyone that I hate. I despise. It is the most annoying thing. And I don't know why when he calls me babe. Hey, babe. I'm like, oh, it's so cringe. It literally, and he will call me babe over and over again.
Well, but this is like a new thing. We've been together 9.5 years, and just in the last 6 months or so.
Because you call me boo, you call me
boo thing.
You have never called me babe until recently, and I hate it. Don't know why, but I hate it.
I don't know why. Because I accidentally said it one time months ago. I just accidentally said it, and he cringed. And I was like, wait, what? I'm not allowed. And I do, like, low-key, I hate when people call each other babe. I think it's the most annoying thing in the entire world when couples call each other babe. I think it's so, I feel like it's just so generic. Like, hey, babe. I'm like, no, not babe. Like baby, I can get on board with sometimes, and
I'm glad you're confessing this right now.
He lets me say baby every now and then. I don't like babe.
So why do you use it?
I accidentally said it one time,
and then once I told him I didn't like it, then all of a sudden he wants to use it all the time.
Whoa, you should leave me because in 30 years I'm gonna drive you crazy. Oh wow,
exactly. You have to turn it back on you. Okay,
let's get.
I'll
just. We can move on, but I just needed to, just sprinkle that little.
The next secret is tea from Tacoma. Is Tacoma,
Washington? This is probably from you.
Wait, you're from Tacoma?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you might know tea.
Do you know tea?
I wish they put their full name.
Right?
They said, I, in all caps, really don't like my sister's boyfriend.
Oh, that's real.
Navigating that is so tough because when you I'll just be quiet.
Heb, thoughts?
I am very loyal to I hate the word loyal because it makes me feel like a dog, but I will like put my family first always. So if they choose to bring someone in, unless like I see that they're awful and abusive or whatever, like I will love them as long as my brothers love them. But as soon as they're out, they're like out. I'm like, goodbye.
Dead to you.
Yeah, they're dead to me. But while they're in, I'll be nice to literally everyone, even if I don't feel like they're the best match or like whatever. But if they're kind of whack and they suck, then that's a different story.
Yeah, that's
real. They like if they actually suck.
It's a tricky one. I remember when my sister started dating her now husband and the father of her children, and I did not like him that much. Like, I wasn't really feeling it. I was confused by it. She was going through a lot of changes at the time that I did not understand, some that I still don't, and I was just not on board. And the entire family was sort of like on the same page because we just didn't understand. We didn't get it. We didn't know him.
Yeah.
And she wasn't really like introducing us to him. So we were just kind of like, eh. And I remember it kind of progressed pretty quickly. And I took her out to dinner and I was like, hey, so just like, where are we in this? Like, what's this looking like? Because she had been engaged previously and was in that relationship for a long time. And oftentimes, a lot of people do this. You're engaged or you're in a serious relationship and then you get out of it for whatever reason. The very next one you get into, it feels like it's lightning fast, and all of a sudden you're married, and then you have kids, and like it's a whole thing, right? And so I think because a lot of times you might realize like, okay, I know how to do the relationship thing. I know I want it. I know I want the family. I know I want all that. I just don't want it with that person. So for the people around you to get on board and to like understand that can be tricky. I remember taking her out to dinner and be like, so what's going on? Like, where are we in the process? Like, do you think he's going to propose to you? Like, would you even consider that right now? It's only been a couple of months or whatever it was. She's like, oh God, no. We're not even close to that. Literally like 3 weeks later, they were engaged. And I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
It happened so fast.
At that point, I knew like I had to just support. Like regardless of whether I liked or disliked him. And it wasn't even about disliking him more. It was about just like I didn't know him. And I just, because there's no winning. If you're like, if you're the friend or the family member who's not supportive, and it continues on, you're gone. Like, you're out.
But also, I think I'll say, because, this person, T from Tacoma, that HEB, I'm sure knows, T.
T, we go way back.
I will say, they said, I really don't like my sister's boyfriend. And the thing is, even when, because I'm sure all these are secrets, right? These are confessions that people are telling to us. So this is not public knowledge. And they're getting this off their chest. I will say, coming into our relationship, I knew that most of AJ's friends and family members did not think I was the right one for him. They didn't really like me.
For years.
I was young. I was
like 8 or
still
9.
Growing. It was wait a minute. We've been together for 9.5 years. But
the 9.5 years.
Pause. But it was one of those things where even if people are doing like the niceties, like whatever, you can tell, even with family members from your partner, if they don't like you. And maybe I'm just more sensitive. I can tell when people are being fake.
Well, yeah, your parents didn't like me.
Well, that's true. It was on both sides.
But also, like, you were in the closet when they met me, and then one of your mom's first questions was, "Is it that white man?" Because she had seen you post a picture of me somewhere.
because before I came out of the closet, I would post him a lot on my Instagram, my Facebook, and everything. And then, so when I finally went home for Christmas, the year I came out, my mom pulled me into a room, and it was so dramatic the way she did it. Like, we were all sitting with
she's
family,
adorable and
she
dramatic.
pulled me into a room, and we were talking, and she's like, "So, are you seeing?" No, she asked me if I'm seeing anybody, and I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, is he black or white?" Which, by the way, pause. I'm like, why is it just those two?
Yeah, there's
those
other
only,
options,
nothing
Mom.
else.
But I was like, he's white, and I think she was just like figuring out through the math of it all. But
And low-key, I'm her favorite son now, so there's that.
well, you're never gonna be her favorite son because she loves me. But anyway, that was that was a wonderful secret annoyance, and there's quite a few more that we have to get to, including HEB's secret. But before we do that, let's take a quick break. And then let's come back because we have some questions for HEB.
Confess your mess.
Oh, wait. That's the best way to come back from commercial break because HEB just sang our tune. This is wild. Okay, because I first fell in love with you when you went viral with "The pandemic isn't over just because you're over it." And I don't sing, by the way.
Should we
so
harmonize that?
That's as close as I'll ever get, just so you know. I don't write songs of any length, 3.5 minutes or 30 seconds. But the fact that you just did that, and we're going to ask you to do it again a little bit louder later on. We're going to run promos with it. Just a heads up.
The funny thing is, because a lot of times when we get guests on this show, especially if I've never met them before, I just reach out through DMs like, "Hey, love you," and I talk about why I love them, and I say, "We'd love to have you on the podcast." But when I reached out to HEB, she was like, "Oh, I've listened before. I love the podcast."
That's wild.
Yeah. So
so Loki a few weeks ago we had on there's another scenario where somebody that he's a huge fan of that I was not aware of at the time. I knew about you going into this, but I was not aware of the magnificence that is Terrell Grice. And so Emile reaches out to Terrell on DM, and Terrell also knows who Emile is. So Emile forgets sometimes that Emile's dope as and people are fans of Emile, and Emile doesn't understand that sometimes. And so every time we have somebody on that he totally looks up to, and they're like, "Yeah, I know who you are." Like, it's a good as his partner. I'm like, "That's right.
I'm working on it."
You're
I was raised in a household where I'm very I don't like talking about myself. Okay. Here's the thing. I want to ask you something before we get to the creative process. I want to ask, because since you have had like a lot of viral moments, is there, or have you noticed a particular celeb or influencer that has liked your content or commented and you're like, "Oh my God, this is somebody like that I absolutely love"? And if so, who is that person?
There have been a couple, but the one that I'm stoked follows me is Beanie Feldstein.
So funny.
Yeah,
She's playing. She's in the remake of Funny Girl.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She's playing, right? She's playing the Barbara. No, not, was it Funny Girl?
Is it?
She's doing, she's playing the Barbara Streisand role in the remake of Funny Girl, I believe.
oh
Wait,
yes.
really?
Yes.
Which
Iconic.
is she's like a massive musical theater geek.
Yes.
So that's like monumental for her, I bet.
Yes, and monumental for you. That's huge.
And she's just so cool. I'm just like, be my friend.
Wait, isn't she like Jonah Hill's sister?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
no, Jonah Hill is her brother.
Oh,
amen. I know that's right. I know that's right.
You better speak on it.
Because I remember we did a story. I host a morning talk show, a radio show called The Morning Beat. And we did this story when it came out. We're a queer station, so we do a lot of like Broadway type stories. And when this came out, it was like the perfect convergence of like Broadway, Barbara Streisand, Beanie, and then also Leah Michele, because Leah Michele for the longest time, like everybody's assumed that she would play every role on Broadway and in the films, and she thought she would get that role someday, and she would have been great, I'm sure. But when Beanie got it, we were like, ooh, nobody saw that one coming. That's amazing. She's so talented.
I love that. Okay, so when it comes to your creative process, like, I mean, based on your videos, it seems like something in your life happens or you think about something like, oh, that'll be a cool song. Is that how it works? Or do you have like a journal that you just randomly write things? Or do you actually brainstorm? Or is it just off the top of your head? Or when something happens, you're like, oh, that would be cool. Let me shoot that.
So it depends on the day. I do have a note list in my phone with like 100 ideas. And sometimes if I just feel like creating, but I'm not quite sure what, I'll sit down and just scroll through there and see what kind of jumps out. Other times I will be complaining to a friend about something and they'll just be like, you should make that a song. And I'm like, holy that should be a song. And it's like the next one or whatever. Or I get just really passionate about, like, if I feel like I want to yell at people about something, then maybe I'll start yelling at them. And like midway through, I'll be like, oh, or I could just put this online and like yell at everyone at the same time. Yeah. So it's like, I just wait for the vibe. I just catch the vibe.
Are you the type, though, that uses moments of frustration and you're constantly thinking like, oh, how could I turn this into something for the internet? Because I swear to God, this one, sometimes this one, he gets like hella emotional and I see him being really dramatic, like in his emotions. Then I see him like, I almost see like something like switch in his eyes where he's like, I'll go a little bit deeper in this sadness because I can really make a moment out of this later on social media. And he does it. And it's amazing.
Now pause. I don't know if that's true. Back to you, Heb.
Well, listen, you gotta embrace it.
Yeah. I've been like mid-cry and been like, I hope I get a good song out of this.
Listen, I think we all do it to the like. In order to be in this industry in some way, shape, or form, you have to be a little bit of a narcissist, and you have to believe that. Like, I think Will Smith said something like this recently. I'm reading this book right now. That you have to believe that things that have never been done before, that seem completely impossible to everybody else, are possible to you. And if you're not a little bit narcissistic and a lot bit of a dreamer, or whatever that means, it's not going to happen. I wrote a whole book and became a motivational speaker, and the pandemic happened. Yeah. But my autobiography came out, and I was like, those were all just really tragic stories in my life that I was like, oh, I can turn this into some money and an opportunity or two. And so, like, I think we're all sort of that way. Your way is just more enjoyable. I feel like it's so fascinating. You can just like turn things into songs.
Yeah.
I just wish I could sing also.
Listen, if AJ can sing, if you listen to previous episodes, we've tried. Okay, so Heb, why don't we do this activity?
No, I'm not doing this.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So Heb, if you can, doesn't have to be complicated. Just sing any note, and then AJ is going to try to match you.
Oh, God. Wait, now you do it, Emile. I can't do it. Wait, I can hear it. Wait, do it again. Emile, you do one. Okay.
Lord,
I can't. Okay, so here's some true tea on this. So I used to sing solos in church every weekend when I was a kid. I went to Immaculate Conception Catholic school, and I sang solos all the time. And then I hit puberty, and my voice changed so drastically, I never learned how to sing again. I was in college at one time. I was a theater major at the University of Toledo for a couple of years. And my professor, Stephen Berwin, he was like my mentor. He was like the only gay person I knew. Like, he was like the only older one I knew, right? And he said, I feel like you could probably sing. I feel like you could, because your speaking voice is nice. And I feel like your range is actually a little bit different than you think it is, because you're speaking, I used to speak a little bit higher. And he's like, your voice is actually, your range goes a lot deeper. So your speaking voice is actually probably down here somewhere in this register. And then I started taking voice classes with him for a little bit. And we worked on the singing stuff. And here's the thing. I love singing more than anything on earth. I'm just so tone deaf.
Okay.
Or I don't know if I'm tone deaf. I hear it, and I can't do it unless I'm singing with him. He did this to me yesterday. We'll sing something, and he'll make me match him, and then he's like, just stay there, stay there. Now I'm going to harmonize. You stay right there. And the second he switches,
He can't stay.
I can't stay there. I automatically go, I go off the rails. I sound like Scooby-Doo, and it falls apart.
Which, by the way, this is Confess Your Mess, so we're going to get back to the secrets, but I told you I'm a huge fan. So since he talked about harmony, you're literally harmonizing with yourself. Like, I can do harmony to a certain extent. Like I've done some harmony with him and showed him,
That's
but like
wild.
It's like multiple voices and they're all you. And then are you actually like creating these melodies and playing it, or in your like how do you do it?
It's I get like insecure talking because I never just want to seem like, I don't know, it just like happens, and that's just like how I am. I don't really.
Honey,
But
you
no.
moved to LA now. You better get comfortable talking
That's-
about
Yeah,
yourself.
okay, right. I need to practice, and the time starts now. Right.
Yes.
So basically, I usually start with a melody, and then
Yeah.
I like create literally everything else. Like all the instruments come in after all that. But it's I straight up just like see what note sounds good, and I have a lot of practice finding harmonies and stuff because I was an alto in choir, and altos a lot of the time have the really weird notes, and we very rarely had the melody. So like I just had like years of practice of finding the weird, I guess, and I like the weird.
Yeah.
Listen, you are so I'm manifesting. I need you to like get on Jimmy Fallon or something and have some type of collab with that, because I feel like you two together would just create a magical segment. I don't know what that is yet, but it would be amazing.
That would be sick. We'd have a little tiny instruments.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's always doing that stuff with tiny instruments.
Yeah. Super talented.
Okay, sorry, had to have a fan out moment. Let's get back to the secrets. Okay, so this is from Colton, Mel, Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm.
Things are bigger in Texas.
I heard Austin is great, by the way. Everybody
Austin's
keeps talking about Austin.
Everybody always tells me
I've heard
Austin's a
that.
fantastic city. I've never been either.
Right, me either. I absolutely hate when people say the words panties, moist.
Oh, whoa, this is a whole thing from my past. Do I know this person?
You might know Colton. Panties, moist, crusty, and smarmy. They all make me cringe to oblivion, and I want to rip my hair out, but it's not socially acceptable to ask my friends to stop saying words. Free speech is a good thing, I guess, LOL.
What is smarmy?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Smarmy is like, you're kind of like me, you're kind of like curmudgeon, you're kind of like snotty and kind of like moody, right? Smarmy?
Smarmy. Ingratiating and wheedling in a way that is perceived as
this doesn't
insincere
clear-
or excessive.
Yeah. Insincere or excessive. Like you're just too much.
Okay.
Like you're not legit, you're not
Okay.
genuine, and you're kind of like a biatch.
I don't like that word either.
I will tell you this though, when I was in college, I have two college sweethearts, sort of. I kind of bounced back between the two. One of them is named Craig, and he was fantastic. And the two words though that made him want to like vomit were moist and panty. And if you said moist panty like together in a sentence, it just took him over the edge. And when he said that to me, he's like, these are the two worst words you'll ever hear in your entire life. Here they are. And he said them to me, and I was like, oh my God, that's accurate. Like those are the most disgusting words I've ever heard in my entire life. Like even by itself, moist, even if unless you're talking about maybe a cake
Or a cookie from Insomnia.
Right. Okay. I actually have a thing about moist, kind of.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I feel like, so I've always hated the word panties, and moist is weird. I think it has that weird oink sound, like ointment is kind of weird, moist. But I just kind of felt like the internet got a hold of moist, and everyone decided that we all hate this word together. And I feel like so many people who hate it don't even like really hate it. They just want to be in the club.
That's real.
Girl, I'm gonna
That's
tell you
low-key
this
how I
though.
feel.
This is how old I am. The internet wasn't around yet.
Okay, then I fully trust you. I fully
We were
trust you.
playing, like we were maybe playing Oregon Trail on the internet when I was, but like low key, like it wasn't a thing yet. We just hated the word moist.
Okay, so we have a few more secrets, and then we're going to get to HEB secret. AJ, why don't you read this one
This
from
next one?
Anonymous?
Okay. Anonymous female, Los Angeles.
Oh, we may know her.
Okay, this could be Heb. Okay.
Probably.
Heb gave this one. She's like, I can give a really good answer to this one. I'm going to submit this. People seriously need to stop picking their noses in the cars. Oh, yeah. Windows are see-through, you morons. I'm all about digging for gold, but do it in the privacy of your room or bathroom. If you're in the car, just wait, please, or use a tissue.
Don't call me out like that.
Wait, you said don't call. Do you do that, Heb? Are you a nose picker in the car? Don't put your head down in shame.
All I said was, don't call me out like that.
Okay, so let's get real about this, right? It's disgusting.
Is
but
it though?
Does everybody do it? Because like low-key, we've been in a relationship for like 9.5 years, and I'll catch him or he'll catch me just like get like the little crusties and just kind of go like this on your hand, as if when you do this motion, it disintegrates somewhere, and it's probably in the bed, it's on the couch, it's in the rug, it's somewhere, right? But I also do the same thing for my dog. He gets those eye boogers, and I get the crusties every day so it doesn't build up, and then I just go like this, like it's going somewhere.
Yeah, you just flick them away into the oblivion, and
you'll never see it again.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
I've done it. Okay.
You're disgusting.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. This is our last secret before HEB secret. Jay, that's their name, male, Oakland. Oh, they need advice, y'all. They need advice.
Oh, I like giving advice.
This isn't a secret. They need advice. I have a serious crush on my roommate / tenant. Sounds messy. I might be falling in love with her, or maybe it's just because I'm tired of COVID protection rules and she's the only person I consistently see. She's moved in about 6 weeks ago after a rough breakup with her long-term boo. We're in our mid-30s, and in our very long and deep conversations, I've learned that we want basically the same things from partners emotionally, materially, sexually, etc.
They're having these long conversations with one of their tenants?
Mm-hmm. I love it. It says roommate / tenant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, we're very compatible in sharing space together. Here they go. They're explaining. I also own the house, and so I'm her landlord, and it's fucked up to be playing with that power dynamic. On the other hand, it's been a lot of quarantine life, and this pandemic maybe will keep that going for a long time. If I shoot my shot, it's either going to be a messy violation with power dynamics involved, and I would lose a great roommate, or it's going to be a fantastic connection with some awkwardness about living together. Confess your mess. What should I do?
Okay, may I start?
Yes, please.
I think absolutely 100% do not shoot your shot. Do not. Like if she wants to shoot her shot, she can.
Yeah.
And like you can make it a little bit clear that she can do that if she wants. But I feel like the best case scenario does not outweigh the worst case scenario, because she could have to go find somewhere else to live. And like finding a place to live that you can afford in the space you want is really fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't want that, then she could be super resentful of that situation.
She's a female. Mm-hmm. He's a male.
Mm-hmm.
And if she is living in his space, he already has there's a power dynamic that's going on because he's the owner of the home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you add the maleness into it.
Yeah.
And you make her feel that uncomfortable. That's just not cool. And I'm a firm believer that if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with Heb on this. Maybe just let her know, and without letting her know that you're open,
right?
That they can approach you if and when she chooses to.
It does get messy though, and I think the COVID of it all is messy, because if they really are not spending a lot of time apart because they're quarantined and stuff, it could be it's not Stockholm syndrome. That's like the wrong thing. But if they're around each other,
not her captor.
Right, but they're around each other all the time. He pretty much said like, or she's the only person that's around I'm talking to consistently. Like, he doesn't even sound like he's fully into her. He just sounds like, oh, she's here
it's
and
convenient.
available. Yeah,
maybe.
So even though they have this, commonality, just because you have these things in common of what you're looking for in a partner, all those things, doesn't necessarily mean that you guys should be together. And then because that's the landlord and they're living together, I just think that complicates things. And I don't think.
Also, what an interesting way, if the relationship did blossom into something, what an interesting way to start it. You just live together from day one.
That would be a good movie, actually.
I feel like that was.
It's kind of like, there's a book called The Flatmate. It's kind of like that. These people share a room, but one works night shift and one works during the day, so they never see each other, and they leave little notes for each other.
Didn't Issa do a web series called Roomie Lover Friends?
Oh, yeah, she did.
Years ago, I used to watch before when she was still doing Awkward Black Girl before Insecure.
I forgot about that.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I feel like, is Andre Fuller in that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I had a crush on him back in the day.
Yeah.
Because of, what was that show we called? We watched?
The LA Complex.
LA Complex that ran for a couple seasons. And then also, I think that's sort of like what happens in The New Girl that was on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Zooey Deschanel? Didn't her character at some point have a relationship with one of the guys that she lived with?
I think so, yeah. That was a good show, by the way.
A landlord.
Right. See, the landlord thing, because then it's like if you guys get into a fight, he's like, I want my rent 10 days early. Like, whoa.
Right.
10 days early? What is that?
I mean, he has power. He's the landlord. Give me my rent 10 days early. I'm kicking you out.
Low-key, when Emile and I broke up one time for 8 hours, I moved his ass out. And this was like a couple years into our relationship. he moved back. He moved into a different apartment, and then I thought it was going to be over. I was like, let's get him out of this place, and then we can.
Which, to clarify, we broke up, got back together within those 8 hours,
the same day,
and then a few months later, he said he this was, first of all, I don't know if we told this story before, but he took me to a park, and I was like, oh, this is so sweet. Like, we're gonna have a nice little moment. We're sitting out in the grass, and he's like, so I want to talk to you. And I was like, oh, about what? I think you should get your own place. I was like, that is shady as fuck. I thought we were having like a nice little picnic and this sunny day, and he's like, I want you to move out. I was like, okay.
Listen, I'm a lot older than him, and also at the time, I'm the first and only person you've ever dated.
I know.
So I was like, okay, this is a lot right now. Like, I just need you to go through some things first before I'm ready for this.
And we moved in together only because, not because we were necessarily ready. We moved in together because it was financial reasons.
We
were broke.
Of course.
So that goes back to this advice. If you're doing it for other reasons than you're actually into them, and you think this, just because they're around, then I would say probably don't go for it.
Not a way to start a relationship.
Right.
Okay. These secrets have been fantastic.
So good.
And Heb, we are excited to hear your secret. But before we do that, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we'll come back.
The pandemic isn't over just because you're over it. And our pod isn't over either.
God.
I'm so obsessed. We're joined again by our girl Heb. We have been building to this moment the entire episode. We got through some of your confessions and your secrets. Thank you so much for submitting, whether it was through our website or through Heb, promoting our website. Thank you, by the way. This is the moment that everybody's really tuned in for. We've really been wasting their time up to this moment.
Yes.
They're here for Heb. So
yes,
it's time for you to finally reveal your secret. It's time for you to confess your mess.
Okay, first of all, I would just like to say my heart is beating so fast.
Low-key, people get nervous at this point. They do.
it's hard revealing secrets.
It's so much easier.
Everyone is waiting for.
Yeah, it's so much easier talking about everybody else's shit. And then you're like, here's mine.
Yes.
We don't judge. You're fine.
This was really hard to come up with. I just tell everyone my all the time. I don't have any secrets because I just literally everyone knows everything there is to know about me. And I didn't realize how much I told everyone until I had to come up with a secret. Anyway, here it is. Okay. So I am getting a divorce. That is public knowledge. I put that on the gram. But I am secretly really stoked. Like, I'm just like really excited.
Aww.
I don't know. It's like I'm in a ton of pain. I'm not gonna act like I'm not in pain. Like this hurts, and it has hurt. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm like a Gemini. I love change. I love like new stuff. I'm in my own apartment for the first time ever. Like, I've never lived on my own before. I'm paying for this myself, which I've never been able to do before. I just moved to LA. I have my little dog. I just got a car. I'm just like, this is sick.
I love it.
Okay, so I just need to say this.
Yes.
I adore you. I didn't expect that secret.
Right?
This is the wild thing about this show. We never ever have a clue what our guests are going to reveal to us at all.
At all.
And it could be going in one direction the entire show, then all of a sudden they drop something like that. So I want to commend you first and foremost for having the courage to make the choice that's best for you. And for taking it a step further and saying, I'm stoked.
Being real.
Like, I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
And I'm also hurting.
Yeah.
Right.
Because all of those things, like many things can exist at the same time. And I think often as humans, we don't allow space for all of the emotions, right? Yeah. Especially knowing that you come from a family of faith. Your mom traveled the country singing at churches. I get there's layers to it. My dad's been married 4 times. I went through a divorce with my parents when I was a child. So that was not easy to go through as a child of divorced parents. But I've said this since I can remember, and I say it to this day, and I'll say it till the day I die. The best decision my mom ever made for not just for us kids, but for herself was to leave my dad. My dad's great. He was a terrible husband to her. And she might have been a terrible wife to him too. Like, they were not good together. And individually, they're different people. But together, they just weren't good. And that's okay. And I think it's taken my mom 30 years to kind of accept that, and my dad too, because they're both like, they kind of talk crap about each other sometimes, and like they haven't really processed the emotions. But to be in the process and be able to say that like you're stoked about it is really, really, really phenomenal. So I just want to commend you for that, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Very refreshing. And you know, it is one of those things where I don't know, you follow people on social media, and I think for us, we really just let people all the way in. We just reveal everything. And like, it's one of those things where I don't think people understand how vulnerable, wow, I can't talk today, vulnerable you have to be. And even though, you're doing your PSAs and everything, I'm sure you're learning as you amass more of a following. People do want to know about your personal life. And sometimes it is hard to let people in and like tell, but also it's very rewarding when you do reveal things to other people and realize the commonalities and, people are relating to what I'm going through. Like I more recently talk about a lot my depression and being in therapy and things like that. And I get these beautiful messages and it's like, oh, cool, I'm not alone. Wasn't necessarily doing it to receive those messages, but it is nice to know that other people are going through this. So I don't know who else is going through what you're going through, but I guarantee you that there's going to be somebody who is going to hear that and resonate and be like, oh, I don't have to feel sad or feel whatever emotion society tells me to feel regarding this divorce. I can actually be happy that I'm living my life and I'm doing, like AJ said, what's best for me. That was beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll tell you this too. Full transparency, because we are transparent.
Are we breaking up live on the Confess Your Mess?
Never. You're stuck with me.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
No, I'm marrying your ass. But we both kind of like go back and forth with our emotions sometimes. We both battled depression our entire lives. And it's part of the reason that I think that we're so beautiful together, because we were able to like lift each other up and we're almost never both down. If one of us is down, right, the other person all of a sudden finds the courage to pick themselves up and be strong for the other person. And it was me doing that this weekend because he had a rough weekend. And I know,
even a rough day today, to be honest.
And I'll say this, you've had a rough 48 to 72 hours probably. And I know that even though we haven't been physically in a church for a couple of years because of the pandemic, and even though we don't know if we necessarily like identify as Christian anymore because there's so much hurt in the Christian church and there's so much judgment, we definitely believe in God, and we are men of faith, and we know that beyond everything else. We know that we have a relationship, and that for us, we know that God speaks to us through people. And I just witnessed God speak to him through you. And that's not a conversation I expected to have on Confess Your Mess today. So, because the way that he looks up to you and others through social media, that are super talented and that are doing like things that maybe he aspires to, or that and just inspire him, and to hear you share that it's not just easy for you either, and that it's not just all happy all the time, that I know that will help him. So as somebody who loves him, I now love you because I thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm like, I've been on this kick for the last couple years, I guess, just like realizing, I mean, it sounds corny as hell when you talk about it, but it's like low-key YOLO. Like we all are gonna die. And like if you're not having a good time with what you're doing, and obviously I say these things and people want to come at me on the internet like, well, financial situations, blah blah. I'm like, yeah, obviously, like I encourage people to quit their job if they don't want to work there, but obviously if you have 3 kids to support and you can't, like, whatever, but I don't know, it's just like I just kind of want to be doing what I enjoy at all times, and like this new chapter of being here in my own place. And then both my brothers are here right now. And then my brother's wife is here. And then I have a friend who literally lives a 2-minute walk away. And then another one a 15-minute. It's just like, I feel like I'm cultivating this little community and like having friends around that I've never had before. And it just feels really nice. But then like today, I got an email from my soon to be ex-husband, and like his fingernail was in it, and I saw it was painted, and I know he can't paint his own fingernails, so I know someone else painted it. But in seeing just the corner of his fingernail sent me into like a 2-hour, like I was supposed to do some work before coming on here, but I just watched a couple episodes of The Bachelor because I just like, I saw his fingernail and was like, oh my God, like who the painted that? And it like really fucked me up. But also at the same time, I absolutely love the position that I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so receive that.
That part is so real, though, and those are very human, very real experiences, and it's normal to think that way and to feel that way. And also, I'm not just going to like put this on you, but I'm offering up 2 friends right here if you need 2 friends in LA. Real talk, because you are just genuine as all get out, and I think you're just so adorable, and we're rooting for you, and we're so appreciative of you. And also, fantastic. Someday when you're ready, we'll be your wingmen.
Listen, I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh my god.
We can start with a nail painting party. We can all paint each other's nails and then go out.
I'm so down. I just got Tinder and Hinge a couple days ago. To at least just start meeting people. Nothing really has come of it yet, but yeah.
But it will.
It will. Sure will.
Okay, so every single episode, we like to end the show with a takeaway of the day. So what from this podcast is your takeaway?
I mean, honestly, I knew I would be in love with you guys, and I am. It's confirmed.
Oh,
oh my god!
Wait, can I also say one thing? You guys are like the hottest couple I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god!
And I have shown a picture. I have shown a picture of you guys. Like at the beach or whatever to like 10 people. I'm just like, do you just want to see like the hottest couple on earth?
Oh my gosh. I love it. You know, we literally, we don't have a lot of photos together like professionally, and like the engagement shoot that we did on the beach, I coordinated all that and we got it done. But we look back at those photos and we're like, wow, we can pull it together.
Because low key, I know me specifically, I'd be feeling hella like just unattractive sometimes. A lot lately, especially. And the last couple years during the pandemic, like I said earlier, I can't fit into my old suits. But like for you to say that was really, 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 really sweet.
You were fantastic. We seriously love you and can't wait to see where your career goes from here.
Thank you so much, you guys. I had the absolute best time. Thanks for having me.
We love you.
Confess your mess.
Oh my gosh, what a fantastic episode. I love hearing what annoys people. That was like a cool secret thing to do.
Yeah, and also she revealed like a legit secret, like an emotion that was real and raw and beautiful.
Oh gosh.
I love
like Inside Out. I love Inside Out because of the emotions.
Yes.
But listen, every single week we talk about a messenger of the week, right? And if you want to be a messenger of the week, what you have to do is go to iTunes, rate, comment 5 stars, and leave us a comment. And guess what, y'all? We're almost at 100 ratings on iTunes and we still have 5 stars. So I know we say it every week, but it will mean so much to us if you leave a comment. Even if you listen on Spotify or listen on other platforms, just go ahead and go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating.
And also, low key, I'm going to tell you something. I believe in us. And our pod is growing quickly and it's about to grow a lot faster. We have some really cool press opportunities coming up for Confess Your Mess. So now is the chance. Your likelihood of getting on our show and being our messenger of the week is going to be higher right now because we're only going up, baby. So get your submissions in, rate, comment, 5 stars, please, and thank you. Here is our messenger of the week. This comes from Nathan Adante. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being a listener. Watching with a smile, 5 stars. Oh my God, you guys. Well, OMG, you guys. I love listening to and watching you guys on YouTube. When I watch, I'm smiling without realizing it until the show was over. Awesome, keep it going.
Aww.
That's a great compliment.
That is.
When you can make someone smile and they don't even realize.
I love that. And I love that they watch us on YouTube too. You can watch Confess Your Mess on YouTube, usually a week after the audio version airs. Also, follow us on Instagram at Confess Your Mess Podcast because we post a lot of fun things on there. And on Twitter at Confess Podcast and on Facebook at Confess Your Mess Podcast.
Sometimes throughout the pod we reference things and we've started to make a habit of putting photos on the Instagram as well behind the main slide on our main feed. So I'm sure this week you're going to see a photo of either or an icy and or a slushy and or a slush puppy. Is there another one?
And Slurpee.
And a Slurpee. We'll probably put photos of all of them.
Yeah, send us DMs and stuff too because we introduced a new segment last week called The Confessional. Anyway, y'all, you know we can talk, so we're going to go ahead and wrap. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys.
Bye.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Confess